scores and touchlines. Today we are doing the Champions League second leg games. And we'll be looking at Barcelona Inter Milan. I think one of the most surprising games, and also Arsenal Paris Saint-Germain. The Arsenal Paris Saint-Germain ended 1-0 to Paris Saint-Germain at the Emirates. And in Spain, Inter Milan had a 3-3 draw with Barcelona. Now we are looking at which teams will get into that Champions League final. So we'll start with the Arsenal Paris Saint-Germain game. We have an Arsenal fan in Prince. So we'll start from him. What happened on the night, and why did Arsenal get to lose 1-0 against a team like Paris Saint-Germain, which in the first round of the Champions League, you were able to beat them by 2-0? So, Prince,
we approached it wasn't okay. The way we started the game, and there's this thing PSG have been doing. when they start, when they kick when they make the first kick, they hit the ball to the throw in, then they pounce on you, and that's they did the same thing to Liverpool, and they repeated the same thing against at the Emirates. So they made the first kick, then they kick the ball out to throw. So now they pounce on you. So it's like you don't have a space, and the goal came very early, so it distorted the whole formation and the whole distance. But I felt like we still needed to at least score a goal at the end. And the unfortunate thing was with the fact that we didn't have Thomas Partey in there. That was the biggest challenge for us. Because honestly, if Thomas Partey was to play at the Emirates against PSG, I believe so well that I was telling one guy that where Dembele kicked that ball from, I'm very sure Partey would have found himself around that side to intercept or do something to help the back line. So honestly, the Partey being out was one challenge that affected us now in the first leg. But going into the second leg, which will be on Wednesday, I'm happy, first of all, because Dembele is not going to play. I think he's injured and he won't be playing for that match. That is an advantage to us. And Partey is coming. I believe so that if we are to get an early goal in the first 15, 20 minutes, if we are to get an early goal, I think that will make the match now even, and now we can play. And I believe if we are to get an early goal at the Parc de Paris, we can sail through. We can. I believe so.
Okay, so I know a lot of Arsenal fans have been calling for Thomas Partey missing that game. That was the reason why you lost. But we saw Arsenal against Bournemouth. You had Thomas Partey and every available player in there, but still Arsenal lost. So do you think it's due to one player missing out that caused you that Paris Saint-Germain game, or is due to like the early goal, as you mentioned, that made the team feel like, okay, we need to slow down a bit, which caused Arsenal that particular game?
So Partey coming against Bournemouth wasn't a problem, but I think the problem was with Arteta. Arteta wanted to hold on to the second position, and because Masti is closing down on him, or closing down on us, so he was looking at protecting that second place so he doesn't slip on. Because when you look at the table now, Chelsea are coming in very hard because Nottingham Forest had to lose the match against Brentford. So you know the points gap is not that much. So I think he threw all his best Arsenal in there so he can at least take that 3 points. But we started the game very well. Honestly, we started the game very well. But I don't know what got into the place, and they missed some few details in the end. This Bournemouth came into the game and they took the 3 points. And they've won us home and away this season, which is so unfortunate. We went to that place, they scored. Then we had a red card over there, and yesterday too we lost against them. And Partey coming in will make a difference against PSG, because I think when we're playing against Bournemouth, when you look at the Arsenal stadium, you could see everything was about the Wednesday game. The focus was really going to Parc de Prince to go and get the maximum points over there to get into the final. So when you look at all the placards and things, was pushing the players to to be hopeful, to believe in the match against PSG. So I think, in as much as he was looking at protecting the second position, he was so much focused on the Wednesday match, so he can get the maximum win. We have to win that match. So the whole belief was on that match. So I think we just lost concentration a bit, and these guys came back with full force and won the game.
So, Ralph, I wanted to find out from you, with Arsenal playing against Paris Saint-Germain, you gave us Arsenal are one team that in the Champions League, when it comes to defensive, they are very solid and they'll be able to stop this Paris Saint-Germain team, even though Liverpool didn't get a chance to do that against Paris Saint-Germain. Were you surprised about the scoreline and also how early that goal came in that game?
I was not too surprised with the scoreline because after PSG played against Liverpool, I mean, Luis Enrique has upgraded in terms of the strategies and systems he's bringing on board. I was watching that game and I was like, Luis Enrique and his team closed every space for Arsenal. They didn't give Bukayo Saka that space and time on the ball like they gave him against Real Madrid. Nuno Mendes was quick to close down Bukayo Saka, and that guy too is very strong, 1v1 against Bukayo Saka. They didn't give Bukayo Saka that space. And they were able to transition. When they have the ball, they are so confident that they can move the ball from defense to attack. Their transition play was so easy. And it made Arsenal things a bit difficult for Arsenal. I mean, when you are playing against Arsenal, you are rushing, you are hoofing the ball here and there. They've got opportunity to win that balls and play you according to how they want to play. But Luis Enrique and his PSG team were not afraid of the Arsenal team. They kept moving the ball into spaces. What they do is that they overload you on one side of the pitch. For example, they overload you on Kvaratskhelia side. As Prince said, when they are going to start the game, they lob the ball a long one to throw in, then they set up the game. They do man marking before they come to zone out. Now they overload you on one side. So when they moved the ball to one side of the pitch, that is the Kvaratskhelia side, and then leaving Ousmane Dembele side. So before you see 2-3 passes, they move to Ousmane Dembele and they are quick to go with their pace and then their firepower in front of attack. So I believe when Arsenal goes to the Parc des Princes, Mikel Arteta, with the inclusion of Thomas Partey, can be able to do something. I believe Arsenal can get a go at the Parc des Princes. So yes, we'll go to that game. So when we get to that game, I'll go in depth on that one.
Okay, with Sam, let's find out from you. Arsenal against Paris Saint-Germain, the most dribbled pass player or the player that lost the most duels was Hakimi. And do you think Hakimi is one player Arsenal were supposed to target in the first leg? Especially we seen him surging forward every time. How do you think Arsenal did well to be able to stop Hakimi not getting enough chances? And did they also take advantage of that Hakimi surging forward?
Okay, I think last week when we met, I said this, that I'll be very surprised if Enrique doesn't fix his mistakes that he did when he met Arsenal and Liverpool. And it seems he did quite well. Arsenal didn't do that bad. And I think they also did their game very well. Just one or two things that they had wrong. Hakimi, that's one weakness on his side. I think if you have a team that can break very fast, you can always catch Hakimi on that flank, because he comes very he moves very up front, and there are spaces that you can pocket through. I think Arsenal didn't take advantage of that. Also, they did very well by blocking him and not allowing him to come forward. But what did they do at the other side? Also, they should have used that flank very well, and I think that was one part that they had it wrong. Also, I think we've seen videos and tweets about people blaming Odegaard that he wasn't really was the right word to use. He wasn't really active on that night. I think he should have been that master plan that will be looking for that loopholes and swinging the balls inside. But I think that confidence wasn't there, and we saw it during the Bournemouth match. At times he needs to take those risks and play those long balls. Saka is very, very fast, same as Martinelli. Also, I think they can make those rounds and get those balls. I'm quite happy now that they're all saying it was because Partey was upset. I think he deserves that applause. He has been overlooked for years at us now. They need to know that he's that man that keeps the midfield in that right shape. And even though they lost, I'm quite happy that they missed his presence in that midfield. Yeah.
Let's look at the Barcelona Inter Milan game. So I'll start with Raf. I think this was one of the most exciting games of the Champions League semi-finals. We weren't expecting a lot of goals because a defensive side against an attacking side would be more solid. But Inter Milan were able to get 3 goals in Spain against Barcelona. And there were a whole lot of questions going around that. Why was the away goal rule taken off? Because if you have to score 3 goals in an away ground, it should give you something ahead of the home team. So I want to start from you. Should this away goal rule be brought back, or you think it's going off, it's now helping the game? That's why we saw a 3-3 scoreline.
Wow, difficult question. The away goal rule, sometimes when it goes for you, it's a good one. But when it goes against you, Charlie, you feel it. And since we are on the Champions League, for example, Liverpool playing and then the team scores a goal at Anfield and it goes to an away game and then we lose by 1-0 and we are out. Charlie, it will get to me. So I personally, I feel we should maintain it like that. We should just play. The away goal rule shouldn't come in again. It has really affected the game in some way. So I'm pleased it has been scrapped off totally.
Okay. Yeah. So let's look at Inter Milan. Do you think they came into the game well? Because after getting 2 goals, they sat back and now Barcelona was just dominating the game with passes. Do you think it was a big mistake for Inzaghi to sit back and score?
Inzaghi and his boys give Barcelona too much respect. I mean, they give Barcelona too much respect. They should have taken the game to Barcelona. Barcelona had a leaky defense. Gerard Martin, Juscundi obviously will bump forward. Barcelona is now the kings of high line, the high defensive line. They are the kings of that. So I expected.
Couldn't even go in.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Simone respected Barcelona too much, and they allowed Barcelona to play their game, even though they were scoring. But the defensive solidity didn't come to play on that day, and I was very, very disappointed in Simone. Bearing in mind that they scored the last goal. The last goal that Mkhitaryan scored, that goal is the very controversial one that a lot of pundits are really talking about. That goal should have stood. It should have been a clean goal. You get it. And then also Inter Milan next time, as I told you the last time, that they knew how to work on their set pieces. They scored 2 set pieces. One from both goals from this boy, Dumfries, the dead boy. Exactly. So as I'll come to the Arsenal game, but I'm saying that when you meet a team that is well organized, sometimes when you meet a team that is well organized, you use your set pieces. Okay, so now they are going to Italy. They should go all out.
That's you.
Yes, they should go all out. It's either, I don't know if Simone Inzaghi is thinking about the league at the expense of the UEFA Champions League or whatever. But then against Barcelona, I feel individual brilliance came to play. Yamin Lamar, that boy, brilliance came to play on the day. I mean, everybody was talking about him. I mean, the guy was on fire that day. Tactically, I don't see Inter Milan got it totally wrong, but our boys' brilliance won't give Barcelona the 1 point at the Bernabeu. Sorry, at the Camp Nou or whichever stadium they play that. So I'm expecting that when they go to the San Siro, they shouldn't be afraid of Barcelona. They should go all out, and possibly they can get something out of that game.
Okay, so Sam, let's look at the offside for the last goal. And there've been a lot of conversations about the semi-automated decision, especially taking an image, like turning it into an animation or a cartoon form, and now bringing it out to solve a particular offside issue. Do you also go with the fact that sometimes it's being like altered a bit by trying to change the images or do 1 or 2 things to help some of the teams? Because we saw Barcelona Real Sociedad, where Real Sociedad, a player's boot was mistakenly put as Lewandowski's boot for an offside. And now Inter Milan also suffered the same thing with just a tip of a boot being classified as an offside. Do you think the semi-automated is something that comes in to help, or we should go back to the line drawing?
Barcelona fans will be arguing right now that it was an offside because it's helped them. I think these things, it goes both ways. If it goes your way, you are happy. If it doesn't go your way, it's gives you this anger. It's for me personally, I think it should be scrubbed off. I think it's taking the fun out of the game with this whole thing. I think that goal was a pure goal in my perspective. I think with animations and things, I think at times you might have some of these figures being altered or a bit. So, but it's the game now. So if it won't get changed, I think it's better we get used to it.
Let's look at Lamine Yamal, 17-year-old boy playing in this Barcelona team, making sure that he becomes the key man for a whole team like Barcelona. He got that equalizer and he set them up. He got the first goal to set them up for the equalizer. On big occasions like this, at the age of 17, he still comes out and plays. What do you think is the future for him, especially in this Barcelona setup? Should we look at him winning the Ballon d'Or if Barcelona to win the Champions League this season?
Amazing player. That's the word I think we are all using. His mentality is different, and I think it's not just me. I think even with Pedri and the kids in that Barcelona team, I remember when the third goal came. I don't know if it was the third or the second goal. Pedri went for the ball and just placed it on the center line and called the team back in play again. It's the mentality also. On that night, I think it was basically Yamil against Inter Milan because he was everywhere. He was the threat. He was the one that the whole team was looking for that night. I remember when Arsenal was going to play against Madrid, Ralph said that the best way is to get Vinicius out of the game. I think if Inter had taken Damiel out of the game, it would have helped them in so many ways. And the issue is, how do you do that before he gets into the 18? I was telling one guy that I was watching the ball with. I think I said the best way is to hit this guy, and you have to make sure you do it outside the
penalty box.
Yes, because that night it was hard to stop him, and he was all over. He played very well, and I think yes, if Inter wants to win this Champions League, they have to find a way to get him out.
Okay, so let's go to the second round of games. Prince, I want to start from you. Arsenal against Paris Saint-Germain in Parc de France. What do you think Arteta needs to do and make sure that Arsenal can get into that final of the Champions League again?
First of all, I wish Barcelona could borrow us Yamal for just that game. So,
but you people are having Saka in that same role.
But actually, we need Yamal. We need that magical feat of Yamal. Actually, that guy is just something else. But about Arsenal, PSG playing against Arsenal. Charlie, honestly, I'm just.
Is hopes lost now on that particular second leg game?
No. I feel like we need to get things right, especially in the first 20 minutes. So that's what Arteta need to focus on. I think you should focus on the first 20, 30 minutes. Or probably the first half. If you get things right and we're able to score a goal or two, at least a goal will stabilize the game. Now it's going to be an open game. After we score a goal, it's now going to be an open game where it's going to be who wants it much. You understand? So I believe, and we scoring a goal will help us, or will push the players want to go for the glory, honestly. And we should just focus on the first 20 minutes because PSG will come in with a strategy where they'll look at scoring us very early so they can bring down our tempo. Because that's the same thing they did at the Emirates. They just give it to us early. So they distorted the whole formation, and now it makes it difficult to want to stabilize the team now, because You just came in and just less than 4 minutes, they've scored you and they are just attacking you. So you realize that before we came into the game, it was somewhere in the second half and it was already too late. Because in the first half, they outplayed us. Honestly, they outplayed us. And when you look at the statistics, I think it was just the ball possession that I think it was 48-50 or something. But shots on target, total shots, everything we did, we came in the second half and we did well. So I believe Arteta should look into the first half and give us a good game. At least he should motivate the players. We're just a win away to into the final. Let's try and win this match. Honestly, let's try and win this match. I really don't want to come after Wednesday. Then people will be on me. I'm Charlie.
Especially Tom.
Because you don't want people being on you after Wednesday. So after Wednesday, do the work for you.
I might have to deactivate my social media handle. Yes, just go and get some yam and use for a month or two.
So, what do you think the scoreline will be in France?
A 2-0 will be okay for me. Honestly, I don't want to ask so much. Just let me not be what's the name? Oliver Twist. I just want the 2-0.
So let's look at the Barcelona Inter Milan game. As an Arsenal fan, if you are to get into that final, which of these two teams, after watching that first league game, which of these two teams do you want to face now?
Initially, I was keen on getting Barcelona in the final, but I think with the Yamal and Pedri, I might have to go for Inter.
So now every week you are changing your final opponent.
That Yamal guy, Charlie, the guy is something else, honestly. And looking at the way Lewis Kelly plays, I think Yamal, if we are to go into the final, Yamal, that guy will just be a thorn in our flesh. So
okay.
I'll go for Inter against Barcelona at the San Siro.
Okay. I think so Raf,
1 or 3-1.
3-1, okay. So Raf, let's look at the Inter Milan Barcelona game. Do you think in Italy, Hansi Flick, what do they need to do? Especially, you talked about set pieces. What do they need to do to make sure that they stop these set pieces from Inter Milan and also they go on their normal business by scoring goals against them?
Inter Milan, getting to the latter part of the season, has dropped a little bit. I don't know if it is because of fatigue, playing the Coppa Italia semi-final against AC Milan and losing the league games 3 times on a row, Bologna, and some other 2 teams, I've forgotten that. They lost 3 on the row, and then before they played Barcelona. So I don't know. It's either Inzaghi is a bit divided mentally as to which competition should he really focus on, right? Yeah. The psychological aspect is also playing a role in Inter Milan's form this season. Now, coming to the game, yes, Barcelona will never stop what they are doing in terms of the defensive high line. They will still do that. They should look for ways and means to penetrate that. This is the only chance they can. As I said earlier, the whole of Italy is backing Inter Milan for this competition, right? The Italians, all the Italian teams are backing. The last time they won the Champions was 2010, as far back as 2010 with Jose Mourinho. So everybody's backing them. Now in that game, of course, Lamine Yamal will be doing his things. But then one thing is that Yamal's presence has made the creative force or the creativity in front of the Inter Milan's forward line become a bit absent due to Di Marco. Di Marco, being the creative spark on that wing, has to drop and help Bastoni or whoever is playing left back. Exactly. So because of that, anytime Yamal has the ball, wherever Federico Di Marco, he has to drop deep, and it is limiting Inter Milan going forward. That is one problem. But then if they can be very confident and allow that guy to play, mark him 1v1, they shouldn't give that boy space. At the moment, we are 2 teams are going to play and are discussing a single player because of his brilliance. We are not discussing anybody, but only Yamal because of his brilliance. So what Inter Milan can do is that they should try and mark him solidly, properly, solidly mark Yamal so that they can allow the other players to try. If Barcelona is short of ideas, they just give the ball to Yamal, create something for us. Now they have, let me say, somebody in that Messi type of player. when their things are going difficult for them, they expect the boy to do wonders. So they should try hard, man, mark him. As Sam said earlier, maybe, in football, sometimes you play rough, you get a result. Hard one back home. Then now say the player why steady on back what I say. Then the other players can be able to try, or else Barcelona will punish them again. And they should also make good use of their set pieces.
Okay, so let's look at the scoreline. What do you think in Italy the scoreline would be, and who are you tipping to qualify ahead of the other in the Champions League final?
Wow. Difficult one. Very difficult one. I'll need some time to think about this.
Okay, so let me go to Sam. Sam, with Arsenal, you are not looking at them going into the final. And do you think they can pull up a surprise in France against Paris Saint-Germain?
I said it in my earlier submission that Arsenal wasn't that bad on that night. It's still open. I'll be very surprised if Arsenal goes into that match with that it's done and dusted mentality. It's still open, even though they're playing at Paris. I think if Arsenal goes in with that mindset that it's possible, they can do it. They on that night was just one or two things that they had wrong that Paris pounced on it. If Arsenal goes into that, if Arsenal goes into that match with that high line that let's press and press, I always believe that you can't defend for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
the ball will surely slip in. And if we are looking at this Paris team, they can't really defend for that long. They will surely be their best move is to also play a very high line, take the ball in the midfield area before it even gets to the defense. And they are missing the Dembele to on that night. That shift the advantage to Arsenal side also. So I think it's not really done and dusted yet. I'm hoping Odegaard will take a risk on that night, because it seems the whole Arsenal team is looking up to him to make some good passes and find some loopholes. But I think that is one thing he's lacking now. So if he can make things right on that night, find those loopholes, those passes behind Hakimi, I think it will be a very good night for Arsenal. The home advantage will play a very big factor also, because at Paris we know that the whole atmosphere that they will bring to that pitch. Arsenal has to go into that match with the head high and with a very strong mentality to win that match. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at with the Arsenal Paris Saint-Germain, who are you tipping to get to the final from that game?
It's still open. I won't lie. It's still open. I think both clubs are still in it, so it will be a close game. I won't. Raf said we should give him time.
Time.
I think I have time on this one. I might have this one wrong, but I think it will still end up 1-0 in favor of Paris.
Okay. Yeah. And between Inter Milan and Barcelona, who do you think would also get
another close game? Another close game. I think this is what makes the Champions League very, very interesting. The whole competitive atmosphere in there. It's still a tight game. Let's see. But it might go to a penalty also. So I'm hoping Inter sails through. I think 2-1. Yeah.
Okay.
In favor of Inter.
Okay, so Raf, we are back to you. We want to know your two teams you are expecting them to get into the Champions League final.
Inter Milan will go to that final.
Okay. And between us,
I'm sorry, but I think Luis Enrique is too fired up. I think I have to. Luis Enrique is too Charlie. Luis Enrique is too fired up. He will beat us now.
Raf
led you here,
right? Raf led you here.
I think, Raf, you were hoping that Arsenal can get into the final, but I think after the first league, your decisions have changed.
But the sort of ball that PSG is playing, you know.
Yeah, fast game.
It's dangerous.
The
Dangerous.
tempo is very fast.
But
It's
to me, I
very
think they still have. If you watch their game very well, they have weak links within the team where
Yeah.
Arsenal needs to explore. Which I am
Yeah.
looking at it in the second leg. I'll be happy if Arteta can change the role of Saka a bit, putting him on the left wing position, and now bringing in Waneri on the right wing position. Because if Saka is to move to the left wing position, it would make Hakimi stay, and now he wouldn't be able to help. With Paris Saint-Germain, they overload the left wing position, meaning Hakimi has the right to now explore that right wing side.
Explode, yeah.
So if Saka is to pin him, he will now stop him from surging forward more, which can help Arteta. And also with Thomas Partey, inclusion would also help because in the game, if you see the goal they conceded, you could see that Thomas Partey, if he was in that role, would have stopped Dembele from surging forward. And even if also when the ball went to Kvaratskhelia, that second ball to Dembele, a normal DM will stand and wait for Dembele before moving to any other position. So if Arteta can explore a bit, because now it's like everything is against them. So if they can explore a bit and push them, pin Hakimi, pin Mendes, now leave the middle three. Paris Saint-Germain's middle three don't attack enough. So if you pin them with Partey, Rice, Odegaard, now you can take advantage of Merino finding in spaces, and Arsenal can move forward if they are to do one or two things or get the early goal in the game. I'm seeing it to be the Paris Saint-Germain Liverpool game where Liverpool had a goal in France and now lost in England. So Arsenal should take that and maybe take advantage of that. With the Barcelona Inter Milan. Oh, yes, Rav, I'm listening.
Okay. Yes, and one thing that to just buttress your point, one thing that is also going to help us now is the set pieces. I really admire teams that work very well when it comes to set pieces. I mean, they scored one at the Emirates and it was disallowed. Yes, they will get more. And then looking at the sizes of the midfielders that PSG has, the João Neves, the Vitinha, they are not the big boys that can be able to defend set pieces like that. Yeah, so Arsenal, PSG is very, very organized, well organized. They should send the balls more to the back line, send more crosses into the 18 box. At least because of the physique they have in Merino and Declan Rice, at least some set pieces and some corners and some other stuffs can also result in a goal for Arsenal, just to buttress a point.
Yes. And I think also with the Barcelona Inter Milan needs to come out and play. The moment Inter Milan comes out and play, Barcelona gets scared. That is what we saw in the second half, where Inter Milan came out to play. They were moving the ball more quicker, and Barcelona were scared. Because why Barcelona are playing a high line is because the coach doesn't trust the back line to be able to be solid to face teams. So it's better to set an offside and put them in. So if you stay back, they close you up. And now any ball, they just set you off. But if you are to push up against them, then it becomes a midfield battle. And Inter Milan are having more men in the middle than Barcelona. So if they can do that, they can take advantage of that. So we are looking at the second league games. This is the Champions League, the semi-finals. We are looking at which teams can get into that Champions League final. And we've always been saying that in Munich, the team that has not had a chance to win the Champions League gets the chance to win. So it's between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. Who is to get to the final would get a chance to win the Champions League. So thank you all for joining.
This theory. That also said anything that has beaten PSV or has knocked them out of the Champions League, they not win the Champions League. And Arsenal knocked them out of the Champions League. So if
Arsenal cannot win.
If theories are working, they need to go against Arsenal.
We'll just hope and see what this week brings us between those two games. So thank you for joining, and we'll come into details, look at the Champions League final, look at what happened and why these two teams are getting into the final. So thank you all, and would come on the next section and talk fully about the Champions League final. All right.